If you have VA disability and you're a federal employee or federal retiree, then you are in the right spot. Today we're talking about the few things, planning wise and money wise, that you definitely want to know about and keep in mind to get the most of both your VA benefits but also your civilian federal employee benefits. Now, if you're new here, so good to have you. My name is Dallin Hawes. I'm a financial planner who helps federal employees get the most out of their benefits and retire confident. And I see all the time people coming from the military that had some military time, whether a full career or partial career, and they come and transition over to the civilian side. And you wonder, what about how these benefits work together? And let's talk about some of the key things that you're going to want to definitely keep in mind. Number one, the first question, can you keep both? Are you able to get your VA disability benefit for the rest of your life and work as a civilian and gain a civilian pension as well? And the short answer is 100% yes. You can get both, no problem at all. That one's an easy one. Is yes, you can get both of those monthly payments for the rest of your life, no questions asked, okay? Next, some people that have VA disability have access to VA healthcare, okay? VA healthcare. And as a federal employee, you also can have FEHB, right? Your health insurance as a civilian federal employee. And the question is, do you need or do you want both? And the answer is it depends. It depends if you want both. However, most people that I see generally have both, especially if they're married. If they're married, your spouse generally, most spouses I've seen want an FEHB plan. Okay. However, it depends on, again, your disability level and exactly what VA medical benefits you have. Okay. But keep in mind, most people have VA, the VA medical benefits and some FEHB plan as well, just in case. Okay. Just in case. And again, not everyone has the same access to VAs and the same coverage, so just keep that in mind. Depending on your disability level, you'll have more or less coverage on the VA side, but most people still have FEHB even with VA disability. Okay. Now, if someone is a full military retiree and has TRICARE on top of that, then often they may not have FEHB. They'll have TRICARE instead. But again, that's a whole other conversation. I'm just going to focus on this for now. Okay. Next thing to keep in mind. One big planning hole that I often see when helping people that are civilian employees and have VA disability is they're used to getting thousands of dollars off in a month from their VA disability payments, right? And they're used to that lifestyle. Both them and their spouse are used to that lifestyle. However, the vast majority of the time, there's no way for your spouse to continue receiving that benefit, those payments, after you pass away, okay? And generally speaking, you're probably, if you had military time, a civilian federal employee, you're probably the primary breadwinner or the higher earner. That may not be the case, but often it is. Often it is. And if that's the case, you want to make sure if something happens to you, does your spouse have enough income? Okay? There's different ways to solve that, whether it is a survivor benefit on your civilian pension, making sure you have plenty of money in your TSP, whatever it may be. But one, again, big hole I see all the time is people don't plan for that. They're just used to having the extra income from the VA disability, not really thinking about, hey, if I pass away, a lot of this income is going to go away, completely gone, leaving their spouse in a really tight spot. So again, if you have a hefty VA disability that you and your spouse are used to having every month, do the math. Say, hey, if I pass, what income is going to be left behind for my spouse? If my VA disability goes away completely, which for most people it does, okay, then what is my spouse left with, and is that enough? Is that enough income for them to be comfortable, happy, and have a confident retirement, even if you pass away, okay? Next, as many of you know, the VA disability is tax-free, which we love. We love tax-free money. But again, if your spouse loses it, then they lose tax-free money, which is the best type of money to have, okay? Keep that in mind. Next, if you have VA disability, I know you've got military time. You were in the military at some point, and my question is, have you bought that time back? Now, if you had a full military career, like a 20-year career with a military retirement as well on top of your VA disability, then in that case, it often does not make sense to buy it back. Sometimes it does, but most of the time, no. However, if you had anything less than a full military career, if you have 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be, then you're definitely almost 99.9% of the time, you're going to want to buy it back. So these are the things that you need to think about. If you don't know what buying back your time is or what it costs, I've got a whole article on that and video on that. You can go check that out either here on YouTube or on our website, hawesfederaladvisors.com. It'll all be there for you, okay? So here are just a few things again. I'm going to recap here briefly. As someone with VA disability and now a civilian and federal employee, here are the things you want to keep in mind. Is yes, you can have VA disability payments and a civilian FERS pension. You can. Next, understand what VA benefits you have at VA hospitals and understand your FEHB to make sure you're getting the best coverage and you're not overlapping coverage or anything like that, okay? Next, if something happened to you, what income is left? Most of the time, your spouse cannot keep your VA disability payments most of the time. So look into that, make sure they're covered there. Next, of course, your VA disability is tax-free income, which is amazing. We love that. Next, have you bought back your military time if you didn't have a full military career? If you did have a full military career, it probably doesn't make sense to buy it back. But you could look into it. I've seen sometimes when it does, it just depends. You're going to want to look into it regardless and to see if it does make sense for you to buy back your time. So those are the few key things to think about. I'm sure there's more. There's always more. So if there's anything you can think about that does apply to all these people in this group, put in the comments below and they will definitely thank you for sharing and helping them out. But I hope that's helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, again, comments is a great place to go. And I'll see you guys next time.